It's not easy to have the job that I have, but someone has to do it. The world is filled with unanswered questions. I and my accent took it upon ourselves to do what everyone is afraid of doing. I was born with a very high intelligence, one that you can't even comprehend. Some think outside the box, but I don't even have a box. I recently tackled a question which seems to have no answer. The question of the perfect enemy. At first, everything was going well. The pieces fell in place. But I have to admit that even a detective like me hates roadblocks. I just don't let them affect me and just focus on what needs to be done. After years of searching, I think I have finally found what I was looking for. There's no piece that can't be put in place. They say with every failure you learn more. But I keep thinking to myself, was there an answer or was the answer there? All along, only time and me will tell. In anime, we stumble upon a lot of stories which tackle different subjects. With each, you will see the top loved one, which everyone agrees is great, right? But if we check the ratings, we can't see an anime which has 10 out of 10. So why is that? Let's put this to the test. Think of an anime which you love and you consider it as the best anime you have ever seen. Now think, have you ever stumbled upon someone who doesn't like it as much as you do? The answer for most is gonna be yes. A perfect anime in our eyes is subjected to our own image of perfection, but the image changes from one another. You may want a cute anime character, good storyline, and don't mind the artwork not being on point. But some might need the artwork and animation to be top notch to consider the anime great. The image of perfection is subject to change between us all. Gintama was one of those animes that I found to be the most well done animes ever. Its humor and character development over the anime's course was crafted perfectly. You fell in love with them, you cared for them, and the humor made everything light. At first glance, for someone who didn't watch Gintama, he will see that it's a gag anime, one who might not deliver story-wise, but that's where we misjudge. The story in Gintama may seem it's about having fun and some laughs, but deep down, it has a rich storyline which makes you care about Gintoki, a samurai who lives by his own rules, but never abandoning anyone. You invest in him a lot, and always look forward to what more does his adventure have for us. Gintama in my eyes is perfect. It has the blend of everything great about anime, but to some, it's not. So, I came up with my 5 rules in making a perfect anime. One of everything to drive anyone who loves or isn't an anime watcher in. A good storyline, and this is unobvious. It doesn't have to be original or groundbreaking, but it should be something you will remember. The events move smoothly, and it always makes you wonder and care for what will happen next. The art of the storytelling always revolves around how it's told and presented. Even a mediocre story can be told in an interesting way. Music is also a big part of what makes an anime great. It can drive emotion, distinguish characters, and make you fall in love with the anime by itself. Like, I remember the first time I watched Tokyo Ghoul. The opening itself made me want more, so having good music can impact a lot. Good character development. What is a story without characters? No matter how original it is, without good characters, it all falls apart. We all remember our favorite enemies by the characters we fell in love with. This is because they are written well, developed well, and always have depth. Animation. Alright, the animation subject is a bit tricky, but having great animation can attract non-anime viewers. It can make them more intrigued. Case in point, One Punch Man, Your Name. Those animes have great storylines, have great characters, but also have great animation. But some strengths of animes, like Mob Psycho, rely on the different and bold art style, which makes a big difference. There's a lot who don't like Mob Psycho just because of the animation style, but that's, in my opinion, what makes it a lot more interesting. But to attract non-anime viewers, you need great animation, which build on the other things that I said before. Relatable characters. Ones who you can relate to and can impact your life. They can inspire, teach, and lift your spirit up. One of the best strengths an anime has is by how it can impact us in our real life, how it can change our view of the world and inspire us to be anything we dream of. We can throw a bonus of having a cute anime girl for some if you want. If we combine all of those, we will get a perfect anime, which can please all. In my eyes, this is how it's done. I know you might think, well, I need something else to make it great. But here's where our view of perfection comes into play. No matter what you do or what you view as something you love, there's bound to be someone who doesn't agree with you. But here, there's also the beauty of it. Because of those imperfections, we get different animes which tackle a lot of subjects. Because of them, we are blessed with all of those characters to fill the need of perfection which will never be filled. Humans are flawed, and those flaws also show in what we do. So rather than looking for the perfect anime and argue on what is good or not, why not appreciate what we love and not care for what everyone else thinks about it? This is how your perfect anime will be decided, by your own will and your own perception of perfection. With everything we do, we strive towards perfection, and we paint the perfect picture for everything in this life, until we open our eyes and come back to the real world, where we live with our imperfections, with the realization that nothing is perfect and nothing will ever be. So whatever anime you hold dear to you and think is perfect, even if it was your manga sensei, then it's perfect because you see it this way. And that's what matters the most. Every anime can be a great anime, even if the story isn't well written, even if the characters, you don't fall in love with them that easily. You might love that anime, and don't be ashamed of that. Love what you want to love, because when you love something, no matter what flaws it has, it will be perfect in your eyes. So don't let anyone change your mind. This is what my perfect anime is. This is what all of my years of research told me. It's not because I couldn't find an answer of one anime that is perfect. There's a lot of animes that I consider perfect, but some might not see it that way. And this is what all of my adventures, all of my research have told me. Whatever you think is perfect, it is perfect because you see it that way. Another day, another case closed.